Hello and welcome to Our Waking Dream. I'm your host, Coco Swanson. I am a spiritual strategist and forever very, very sensitive seeker I have my whole life dove into esoteric arts, wisdom traditions, contemplative practices. And on Our Waking Dream, I come and I give one basic astrological lesson, like a tip that's going on that week or perhaps in the greater season. And I focus on only one or maybe a handful of things because astrology is a little bit, at least for me, when I was first learning, a lot of it just went way over my head and I was left confused rather than like very clear on what was going on in the stars was actually determining, and the planets and their relationship was actually determining the internal mood and the external mood, really, of what's going on in my life and the world. So astrology provides a map, and then I couple the map with awareness practices and energy healing and maybe communication shifts and all sorts of practices rooted in wisdom traditions. I just got distracted because a tiny little white feather just fell from the sky. So I'm just going to use that as an entrance into what we're talking about today, because we just exited eclipse season. So first off, if you're here listening and you've made it 2 minutes in, you're probably another sensitive being. And so I imagine that you probably would have been feeling the eclipse, both eclipses. How are you? Eclipses create such instability and change. And it's like the reset button, which we need. However, it can be a little dramatic. How are you? Did it land in a dramatic way? Did it land in an easy way this season? Maybe a little bit of both. For me, the eclipse seasons, this one felt both watery and very electric, which is a little bit disarming because water is so soft and gentle. And then I'd have these electric, either awakenings in a nice way, like ahas, or else sort of electric awareness of things that weren't working. So how are you doing? And are you starting to feel this settling energy as we move into, in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn and Libra season? So Libra season is a whole different ballpark than talking about eclipses within the Pisces-Virgo axis. Libra is an entirely different zodiac sign. It's so fun how many layers there are to astrology. And it's much like life for me, there's a lot going on at once. So as we enter into Libra season, I am smiling because, oh my gosh, can we just breathe a breath of peace? I am peace. We let that breath move through you, move through us. Libra, in its glory, in its strength, is about peace. It's about harmony, balance. It's an air sign. Balance and harmony, listening, sharing. It's a Venusian sign, so that means it's governed by Venus. So there's beauty and aesthetic, balance and harmony within beauty, within aesthetic. How are you in relation to all things balance and harmony? That is always my first invitation in these podcasts, in the show, is to take inventory. Like, how are you doing in relation to the theme that's moving through this week, this month? So in what ways Do you feel balanced? Do you feel in harmony? In what ways does your life feel balanced and in harmony? In what ways do you feel the freedom to speak? Because sometimes the underbelly, the shadow side of Libra is when we want to keep the peace, and so we won't speak our truth. So that's a really important part to observe when we're entering into Libra, when we're in Libra season. As we land after eclipse season, what still needs your attention to come into balance and into harmony? And this is an important time because we will have a full moon in the opposite sign of Aries coming up on October 6th or 7th, depending on where you're at. I'll talk about it next week. And that creates a lot of dissonance because we have a opposition, and in it there'll be a square with Pluto and Mercury. So it's a really good time right now in this week to foster harmony, to foster beauty and ease. So the symbolism, I don't know if y'all can hear the birds speaking to me. And the bird's speaking. I'm in its earshot and I like talking back. So if there weren't a mic here, I'd be making little bird noises back a little louder and more of them, because I can harmonize with myself. I can harmonize with another. And that's Libra is about the other, me and you. And that you can literally be a bird outside. What if the whole universe is alive and ready to harmonize? So how do we harmonize with ourselves and the world? First is really observing where you're at. So again, every time I come on here and talk to y'all, the first practice will usually be based in observation, because we have to build that internal witness in order to even take the temperature of how we're doing with that theme, right? So how are you doing? What feels out of balance and what feels in balance? What feels harmonious? What feels dissonant? Dissonant is like the opposite of harmony. It's when two voices come together and make gross sounds. I don't know. If harmony sounds great, dissonance is a bit of nails on chalkboard. What's kind of fun is, as somebody who's taught herself to harmonize as an adult, I've had a real steep learning curve. You can ask the people close to me. There are lots of funny stories in there with learning how to harmonize. You'll experience dissonance. I will experience sounds that don't make sense together as I'm practicing. So if you're someone who has stifled their voice, so think if it's about speaking and listening, we got to check in. How am I speaking? How am I in listening? Am I able to speak and speak my truth fully? I have a lot of emphasis in Aries, just the opposite of the sign. So speaking clearly, speaking my truth is easier for somebody that might have the same situation over there in Libra. And so really look, how are you? Like if you think of speaking to somebody that you're scared to talk to, say you're in conflict and it's scary, what happens in your body? And that brings me to practice number 2, I suggest, is do that. Imagine that you're getting in front of a group to lead, or you're in conversation with somebody, another, in a way that feels dissonant, that feels scary, that feels conflictual. Just merely imagine it and then bing, notice what goes on in your body when you imagine speaking. If I'm nervous about speaking, my throat gets all blocked up. How about you? What gets blocked when you feel scared or stifled in your speaking? Then, practice number 2 is we place our hands there. And we place our hands on the place that's dissonant, that feels ouchy or stifled or tight, or basically anything that's a thumbs down or even on the way to thumbs down. So it could feel wonderful when I think of talking to so-and-so, the bird. It could feel wonderful when I think of talking to, fill in the blank. But if I think of talking to so-and-so, that's what stifles my voice. Well, that's what's in need of attention in Libra, and clearing the voice in order to be able to speak, sing, be, because I need to have this space to just be me in harmony in order to be able to speak to you. And then we create the discord or the harmony. And so if you're feeling stifled in your voice, a practice I love is to have my hands come to my throat. And I imagine and sense and feel that I have the ability to clear energy from my own throat. I imagine and sense and feel what it would be like to have that hard conversation or whatever it is that's stifling my voice. I soften and I say, I am safe. I'm safe. I notice how safe I am in this moment. Because if my voice is being stifled, it's usually because in the past, and it can be in this life, it can actually be in the past, one of my lineage members, because this information of trauma travels through generations. So say I have an easy time speaking my truth, but somebody in my lineage didn't. Well, I'm actually clearing that from theirs. But if it's in my body, it's mine to clear. And so I can close my eyes, imagine, sense, and feel energy, and imagine, sense, and feel it pulling out with my hands, transforming as it does, and moving back into light. The only constant is change. If I go into a stuck pattern and I release it, it goes back to source, and that layer is cleared. Well, I can, go do something else, have a little cup of tea or soup or whatnot, and then come back and try to imagine speaking to that person again. How does it feel then? You take the pulse again after the little somatic release. Somatic release is soma is in the body. So all of our patterns that we have subconsciously and through our genes, through our genealogy, our ancestry, and through our karma and through our collective, all the patterns can be found in our bodies. And we want to clear them in our bodies because oftentimes I'll have a shift of my mind, but it takes a minute, it takes sometimes like years, a lifetime, maybe lifetimes, who knows. Hopefully though, we're clearing the patterns together with a lot more oomph because we're all starting to identify and clear patterns. At least if you're on this channel, you are. And so what's that like if you do one layer of clearing and come back and check in and imagine speaking in the situation that caused you tightness, and you might need to do another layer of release, especially if speaking your truth is rough. Practice number 3 I suggest is to do this with another. So this is kind of a silly practice and I love it to pieces. And it's about practicing harmonizing. So I like to practice harmonizing by just singing. So I'd sing throughout my days, not caring what it sounds like. A little bit more challenging when I'm on a mic. But if I practice singing and then I'm with a buddy and they're practicing singing right back to me and we don't care what we sound like, We get to practice harmony in a way that's really fun and not very heavy. So we practice. I'm smiling really big because it's so fun when I have found other buddies that want to practice being in harmony together and are open to try that through song. So what I'm literally suggesting is, as we're in Libra season, that we practice harmony through singing our days with each other. Like, hello, Coco, it's good to see you. Well, hello, our waking dream people, it's good to see you too. And you're literally singing back and forth with me or you or that bird that was just here. And it's the embodiment of what it feels like to, in a light, non-judgy, this is like zero judgment. That's one of the rules with this one. Zero judgment of self and other voice. Our voices, they need space. That you like provide a little baby bird or a little baby, like, great job, sweetie. And you're like in total discord. It just needs, we need to buoy what we're trying if we're trying new things. So I'll do this all the time. You heard it. It's like hard for me not to when a bird comes by. And I've been doing this for a good, decade or so. And the birds speak back. It's almost like they're like nodding to me, saying, although that attempt at my voice was quite off, because I don't actually speak bird language that I know of, like maybe I am and I don't know it. I feel like I'm kind of bad at it, but I take the judgment aside on purpose so that my little baby bird voice gets a chance to sing. And then here's what's happened. The birds sing back. All of them. I've been doing this for a while. I've gotten these huge ones to start. These osprey will start circling. I mean, it's like tingle, tingle, tingle factor. Is that the world wants to harmonize with us. But if we are not trying, it cannot try back. So why not try harmonizing? Through singing with each other, being really silly, pretending like we're little, and not caring what we sound like. And over time, we get our voices strengthened, we sing. Okay, so welcome to post-eclipse time. Cozying in over here. How about you? It's time. It's Libra. And this week, enjoy it. The full moon. The full moon in Aries on the 6th, 7th is a pretty intense one. Again, I'll be talking about that next week. And so really take advantage of cultivating peace. I am peace. Then you sing, sing, sing. Practice number 1, observe. How are you? Do you feel imbalanced? Do you feel harmonious? What does, what doesn't? Practice number 2, clearing your voice, noticing where you don't feel harmonious, clearing the voice, trying again. Practice number 3, harmonizing while you're hanging with your body. Zero judgment, just practicing. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love showing up and being here with you. Please make sure to review this. Tell me what's up. How am I doing? This is for you. Okay. Until next time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being a part of our community here at Our Waking Dream. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Fill my cup and let it overflow. Let it overflow with love.